Hey, my friend, before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you something that I'm really excited about. You know how I always say your voice is your most powerful business asset? Well, what if you could multiply it? Not clone yourself in a weird science fiction way. I mean this. What if there was an AI tool trained on your stories, your frameworks, your way of showing up that could create content, draft emails, and keep you visible even on the days you're fully booked? Or maybe lay on the beach. That's exactly what we are building together in my 3-day live challenge, Build Your Communication Clone. Here's the thing. I hear from coaches and entrepreneurs all the time, Sabine, I've tried AI and it sounds nothing like me. And they're right. It doesn't. Not yet. Because the problem isn't AI. The problem is nobody taught you how to train it in your voice. That's what day 1 is all about. Day 2, we build the clone live, together. And day 3, you put it to work in your real business. No tech experience needed. Just bring your voice and your stories. It's free. It's live. And your spot? It's not guaranteed until you sign up. So go to the link in the show notes right now and grab your seat. April 14th, I can't wait to see you there. Are you with me? Let's go. But now, let's dive into the episode. And today's topic is fear to fire. Yes, we are taking a look at fear today. Did you know that 70% of people say that public speaking is their number one fear, even before death? That means they rather lay in the coffin than giving the eulogy. But joke aside, I can understand that. Public speaking can be challenging, can be very fearful. But there are many other things in life that give us that feeling of, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. That fear that creeps in. And there are many different reasons for that. And of course, we cannot dissect everything in detail. But what I want to do is talk about how you can flip the fear that you feel, no matter if it's for public speaking or if it's fear to move forward in something that you want to do, but you're afraid. And I say this from my experience and also from what I've learned to cope with fear and overcoming fear and moving forward, meaning also helping me to do these things in life that I wanted to do. And oftentimes, when we come to that crossroad, fear, and we jump over it, and we get over it, and we get over to the other side, wow, we feel so good. We grow as person. And growth is one of our human needs that we have. If we don't grow, we go backwards or stagnate. So growth is very important. And overcoming that sometimes very uncomfortable feeling that we labeled as fear can help us in the growth process. So, and in my book, Gamchen, I'm talking about that, how I became an author and also how this book came about. And I'm going to cover a lot of the topics that I discuss in my memoir. And hopefully that will also help you to step up or to get over that fear, grow into the next best self. And that is what it is. We all have to become the person we are meant to be, to live the life we are destined to live. And one of the things is to get over fear. And I discuss fear of how we can flip it so it helps us going that next step. Are you ready? All right. So let me begin by, first of all, saying thank you. And if you're still here, I appreciate you. And of course, I appreciate if you can give us thumbs up and share it and subscribe if you haven't done it yet, so you don't miss another episode. And you can also put something in the chat if you have any questions. So now let's get started. My fear flip method. And as I mentioned before, it evolved out of my experiences that are, of course, for some time, I have been on this planet for a while, but that work. So I'm not sharing any theory with you. These are all the things that have been working for me and have been working for many others. And what I did is I gave each letter a different meaning. All right. So oftentimes you may be familiar with the phrase, how they say what fear meant: false evidence appearing real. And yes, that absolutely can be, right? But I want to give you something even better. And that is, each letter will give you the idea, the understanding, and the action that you can take. So let's start with the F. So F stands for faith, meaning you have to have faith that everything is working out. Okay? So faith means trusting in the process, trusting in the journey that you are on. And in my book, I give that example. I don't know if any one of you have seen the Indiana Jones movies, but I think it was the third movie maybe, where Indy has to get the Holy Grail to save his father, right? And so he goes on this journey. And when he came very close to that cave where he could get that cup that will save his dad's life, he stood in front of a gap that he couldn't jump. It was way too big. Okay? It was a canyon. And how can I get onto the other side? I cannot see any path, any bridge, nothing. And there again, it came, have faith and the path will appear. Just take the first step. Wow. Of course, it's a movie. And I'm using this as a metaphor. That path oftentimes will appear if you take this first step and have faith in it. And so for him in the movie, we can see he took a step and he got some kind of support. So he got some pebbles that he threw over the bridge, and the bridge became visible because the pebble landed on the invisible bridge. There was one there. And so often this happens to us as well. We stop because we don't trust the journey. We don't have faith that we will be supported some way or another, right? And of course, I'm giving this as a metaphor, as an example. But here is one thing that was very, very real. And that happened last year to me. I was confronted with my own fear. I was at an obstacle course in Norway, and one of those, they have those huge zip lines that go over a fjord. And I've done zip lines before. I'm not afraid of that. But you have to get to that platform, to that zip line. Now, here's the thing. In Norway, that zip line was directly on a mountain. It was attached to the mountain, and we had to get to the zip line. And so when I came to that starting point, I couldn't see where I was going. The only thing I could see was looking down the fjord that were like several hundred feet deep. And the only thing I could see was like two metal strips on the top where I could literally hold onto. And then on the bottom was a metal or wood platform that was just deep enough for the balls of your foot to go on there. That was it. Now, with that said, I was strapped in. When you go on those obstacle courses, you are strapped in. So even if you fall, you don't fall down. However, it is still very, very nerve-wracking and fearful when you don't see it and don't know, do I have the strength to do it? So I chickened out. I went back to my company and they asked me, Sabine, what do you do? We were waiting for you. And I said, I cannot do it, guys. I don't know if I have the strength and I cannot see the path. I cannot make an educated decision if I can do it or not. And then I saw no guards around that I could ask. And then I looked up and there was a guard. And she said, you're okay, you're strapped in, remember? I said, yes, but what if I cannot make it? And then she said, well, and if you fall, you will be held. And then you pull yourself back up. But I said, what if I don't have the strength to pull myself up? I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I mean, I'm strong. I did obstacle courses here, but still. She said, then you will be rescued. I said, okay. So I went back and I stood there. I looked down the fjord, looked around. I couldn't see anything. And then there was a little girl behind me. And I saw she was afraid. Okay. Now the leader that I am stepped up. I said, okay, I have to be the role model. I've been the role model my whole life. So to many, many different people. And I encouraged her, let's do it together. We can do it together. It's okay. We are strapped in and there are guards. So don't worry about it. You can do it. I've seen other kids go before me, which was another thing. It's like, if other kids can do it, I should do it. So I strapped myself in, hooked all the equipment into the lines, and I kept going. I looked back, the little girl didn't make it, but I did. And then finally it got around the corner, and then I looked up and said, holy moly, that was a long path. Being there, I mean, you needed strength to hold on. And I was like, I was fearful, but I was there. And then I was just having the faith. Well, the faith was, okay, everybody says you're okay. And then just putting all my faith into going around the corner. And then I kept going. You see, I did something, putting the faith and trust in the journey, even if I couldn't see the path. And eventually the path appeared and I kept going. Even if I had to stop in between, it's okay to stop, to evaluate, to catch your breath, whatever you want. But just get started. Have faith that the path will appear. Have faith that the resources will come to you. And I have tons of stories that helped me in my life. And that's part of it, what I share in my book. So the E stands for enthusiasm. So what does it mean? It means courage. It means moving forward. It means so many things. But I want to go back to the Greek root of the word. And that literally translates entheos, meaning the God within. And when you translate this into how we use enthusiasm, and when you are enthusiastic about things, there is just that inspiration, that higher spark that we all have within us. And you can call it whatever you want. It has nothing to do with religion or what you believe in guides you. Maybe it's your guardian angel, God, higher power, the universe. But I believe that there is a divine spark within each one of us. And that divine spark helps us to understand and guides us to the path that we enjoy most, to the path where we can serve most. And when you have that enthusiasm, then everything will show up. It has shown up in my life all the times. Did I take detours? Of course I did. Did I have low points in my life? Of course. And I do share that in my book as well. It's not just sugar-coated. It's not just look at me. No. I'm sharing some deep, deep, deep down, honest experiences that I had in my life where that moment of desperation and that moment of decision to move forward, to have that faith and taking enthusiasm back, say, okay, what can we make out of this situation? Look for the silver lining. What is it that I need to learn from it? What is it that I still have? What can I be grateful for? Right? Those things bring that enthusiasm back. And then I could move forward doing the things that I love to do. And the tools showed up, the right people or the right person, the right opportunity. See it and grab it. But when you know you're enthusiastic about something, that is usually a good sign that you're on the right path. And for me, that changed everything. So if you are in a fearful situation, just pull back, have that. Say, okay, how can I get that enthusiasm? And part of it is, and that is the next part or the next letter, A, it's action. You have to take action. When you make a decision, take action. One step. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. And to get that enthusiasm, just for example, it has something to do not just thinking about it, but also how you feel, your body. And as if you know me, you know I am a very big opponent for getting your body and mind into alignment, attunement. Because when our body is engaged, when we feel good, our mind is more inclined to say, well, let's take that step, right? Get on stage. And so one of the things that you can do when you feel, I don't know, your body is more contracted, stand tall, do a power pose, the Superman or Superwoman pose. It has been scientifically proven that certain poses and movements starting to get your internal chemistry going, to keep it very, very simple, those happy hormones, that endorphins are being activated, and those happy hormones will help you feel better, will help you say, yes, I can do this. And then taking the action, making a phone call, writing an email, learning something new, going to your friend, apologizing, going to your employee, asking for a raise, whatever it is, starting a new business, writing a book. Oh my goodness. You see, somebody encouraged me to write this book. Somebody said to me, Sabine, you need to write your memoirs, your biography. You need to share what you know. And that's why I called it Sacred Whispers, Bold Moves, and the Courage to become. And that one person that encouraged me made me think. I did have that memoir in the back of my mind, but I wasn't ready yet. Well, at least I thought I wasn't ready yet. But then I also listened to my intuition, right? And I moved forward to set an appointment with someone that I can talk to at a publishing company and just ask, is my idea even good? So I took an action step, and then an opportunity comes. They said, yes, we want to publish your book. Fear comes in. Wow, what's next? Now I have to write it. It wasn't written when I proposed it. I didn't have a book yet. There was just the idea. And then the idea to write a memoir. Well, I have written books before, how-to books, with the skill sets that I had, but to write a memoir, which is very personal, fear. And then there was also the time commitment the investment of my time and financial investment too. So that was like, but I did it. I remembered, no, you got to do it, right? Trust in the journey, trust that intuition that guides you, trust the opportunity that comes your way. It's all aligned with where you are, who you are, and where you are at the stage of your life. And that's what I did. And then the last letter stands for R, and that is resilience. I believe we all know that. When you are on a path, it's not always sunshine. It's not always straight. There are obstacles that come your way. There are phases of doubt that come your way. There are those moments when those chattering monkey voices start getting very loud. The ego voice, I call it, right? That's edging God out. Those are the ego voices that are there in our brain to keep us safe. And there are moments in your life, it's good when they're there, right? If you come into a dangerous situation, little tip, I shared one of those in my book as well. Those moments where that whisper, or in this case, very loud voice says, run, 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 get out of that dangerous situation. But when we are in those moments, for example, that book writing process, or even getting started, or saying yes, where everybody says, oh, no, that could be dangerous. You could lose something, or whatever it may be. You also have to understand sometimes those voices, you have to silence them. You have to say, thank you, but no thank you. I'll send you back where you need to belong in those moments when I'm really in a dangerous situation, like a tiger is running towards me and I have to run away. Okay, you can tell me, okay? But in this case, I know I will be safe. I just have to keep going in those situations or in those moments where it's getting hard. So you have to have that resilience to keep moving forward, to ask for help if needed. Ask for help. Oftentimes we forget that too. We're not asking for help. And so that's what I have done my whole life. And the interesting fact is, some of the things I didn't even realize it. But in retrospect, we can put all the dots together. I thought, oh my gosh, yes, this is how I lived my life. This is how I got over those uncomfortable situations, those fearful situations. I had faith. I trusted in the journey. I am an enthusiastic person. I've always been an enthusiastic person, but sometimes I forget. And then I have to remind myself, right, that there is that inner spark, that God within, that inspiration, that those invisible guidance systems that we have, so to speak. And then action. I'm a very action-oriented person. And I wrote this book, Unlock Your Full Potential, 10 Easy Steps to Live the Life You Imagine. And I wrote that book 15 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer. And I adapted it a little bit. I do have an e-version now. So if you are interested, let me know, or go to my resource page or send me a message, and I will give you a free version of it. So why am I sharing this? Because in that book, I have action step after each chapter, because I know that taking action is crucial. Crucial. We can read about it. We can hear about it. But if we don't apply it, it's no use. And you maybe heard the phrase, knowledge is power. No, it's not. Applied knowledge is power. When you apply something, turn it into something that you want to do, achieve, or create. That's power. And so that's why it's so important to take that action step. And then you just have to keep going. Sometimes resilient means you take one step, it didn't work out. Well, try it in a different way. Try it in a different way until it does. Don't do the same thing over and over again. And then, because as Albert Einstein said, well, if you do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, that's insanity. And I don't want you to be insane or get there. So, and of course, if you have a question, you cannot do it on your own, find help. Get a mentor. Get something that can help you along the way. And it depends on where you are, at what stage of your life. There are different ways to do this. There are tons of free stuff. And I supply free things. Send me a message. Follow me on Instagram, or here send me a message on the YouTube channel. And then just do it. Apply the action. Get help. Get a mentor. And if you feel, maybe Sabine is the right person who could mentor me, then go to talktosabine.com and schedule a time on my calendar. This was my episode, and if you enjoyed it, I would appreciate if you could give us a 5-star rating and leave a comment. And I will reply to every question that you post. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if this helped you and you can think of someone else who could benefit from this episode, please share it. Thank you again. And always remember, serve from the heart, follow your passion, and live the life you imagine.